Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're having a wonderful Monday. We are back again with another PWCC/Fanatics weekly review where I go through the top 100 soccer items auctioned off over this last week on their platform. As always, if you enjoyed these videos, do make sure to leave a like, helps me, helps the channel, all that good stuff. But with that said, let's go ahead and swing on over. So here we are. Alrighty, so here we are over on the site, and this week starting off a good bit higher than normal. Just brought the mic in a little bit closer. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, 312 to get into this weekly, which is a pretty mighty number compared to what we typically see, so we'll get going. We start with Julian Alvarez Kaboom, PSA 9, along with this Pele that might not really be a Pele, that goes for 312 as well, out of the 1962 Stella. We have a Victor Gyökeres as well for 324. There will be more of him throughout this, so it'll be interesting to compare, at least in that regard. 2015 Select, Cristiano Ronaldo PSA 10 for 324. Which, you know, seems like a decent number. The camo is always a weird one for me, personally. As someone that does like Select, the camo sort of gets thrown around in different numbering variations throughout its history, and it's not even really that great of a color by itself. I guess it's more of a design than a color, but you get the idea. 324 on that doesn't seem crazy. We have a Dino Zoff auto from the 1970 Panini World Cup sticker set. Of course, a really iconic sticker set in that regard. Maybe the most iconic sticker set as well. And to get a Dino Zoff auto is pretty cool. He is still alive, so he still could be signing, and this may very well be something recently done. So that is something to consider. 336 seems like a decent price. I mean, we've seen his rookie sticker autos going for $100 to $1,000 at times, so 336 doesn't seem light. It's an authentic grade on the sticker. I wonder if they just got it graded authentic rather than it being authentic because it's that low of a grade. I looked at it, it didn't seem bad, but maybe I'm just not as familiar with the dimensions needed. Out of 49, 2023 Select patch there for Lamine Yamal. Above it, a couple World Cup Prisms from 2018. We have the Red Blue Wave Kylian Mbappe, which initially just stuck out to me because at that price you could almost get like a PSA 9 rookie sticker. And personally, I mean, I'm a big fan of the sticker. I say it all the time. I would take a PSA 9 sticker every day of the week over this, but that's just me. We also have this Laser Cristiano Ronaldo PSA 10, which stuck out to me as a pretty impressive price. Not that I really know what these go for typically, but for some reason it was, because if we look back, last sale was 135, 112, 90, 96, and then you got like numbered ones for 300. So I don't know what happened there. Someone got a bit excited. I don't know if that's a sign of more to come or just a one-off, but certainly a strong price. Almost 4x what it was earlier this year, so interesting to see. So pretty decent number there, I would say. Next to it, we have a 2024 Topps Now Lamine Yamal out of 24, 25. Oopsie. That's from the Euro set as well. Above it, this Gyökeres goes for a good bit more than the other. No clue as to why, but about $50 more. A Jota in the middle, of course, sad story there. And, if you want to grab something for the PC, I understand. We also have another Gyökeres here. This is just a white PSA 10. Personally, I'd take the white over the zebra. I do think so myself. Clearly rarer. Also, the white is more of a color match than the zebra. And just generally, I'm not a fan of the animal print designs, but maybe that's just me being a purist. I'm not sure. This one's a weird row. The Fergie Heroes, we've talked about it before, not something I'm really all too familiar with. It seemed to appear out of nowhere, a lot of them in high grades, and they seem to be selling basically every other week, or every month, certainly, at the very least, in PSA 10 grades. So I don't really know. It's not really something that's in my wheelhouse, but if you have any info, would love to know, because just seems like an odd release. 2022 Silver Messi here for 400 and a PSA 10, along with this Hyperplant Cristiano Ronaldo PSA 10 from 2017 Revolution. If you don't know, I am a fan of 2017 Revolution, in particular the Galactics, which are the rarest parallel in the set. They're also unnumbered, but this is sort of the second rarest in the set, also unnumbered, and this goes in a PSA 10 for 408. Kind of a cool one to have in hand. It works pretty nicely. Not as nice as the Galactic in my opinion, but it is pretty rare, as you can see here. 408 on this one. Last sale of this was in 2022, so it hasn't sold in almost 3 years, which is pretty impressive, I would say. Granted, I'm sure these are around raw. I doubt everyone's grading every single one of these, but decent little jump there in price. Above it, we have a 2003 Upper Deck Cristiano Ronaldo PSA 8, which isn't a great grade, but it's okay. This goes for 408, and these haven't really moved at all, despite Messi and Ronaldo stuff moving generally. And I mean, personally, I sort of understand it. They're already decently expensive for a base card, but it is, early days. It is Manchester United stuff, so I get it. It's exciting in that regard. But there's numbered stuff, there's high numbered stuff, there's SP Authentic, there's patch autos, there's low numbered stuff. There's a lot of competing factors as well. Not even including higher grade versions of this, but all to say those haven't really moved much, and maybe that's why. Fermin Lopez next to it for 408, along with another Lamine Yamal. I just really don't break down anything Lamine Yamal, almost anything post 2022, and if that isn't, I would hope at this point, if you're watching these, that just is okay with you, because it's not really going to change, I don't think. I might look at some Lamine Yamals here and there, but there's just so much stuff within his rookie season that it's so hard to compare. Like, you'd have to have like 50 or 100 sets and like 500 different cards in your head and be able to compare this card to this card to that card to this set, and it's too much. So, I kind of just acknowledge them and keep moving, but it is what it is. In this row, we have obviously, as you can tell, red mosaic Cristiano Ronaldo Prism PSA 10. We have a Pele Heinerle that I sold. I sold a decent bit in this auction block. I think this is the only one that made it into the top 100 since we had a high bar set this week. In terms of the sale, it's not a great one. I did lose a little bit of money on this, but that's fine. You make money on some cards, you lose on others, and Pele stuff in general isn't doing all that hot at the moment, so I sort of knew what was coming in that regard. I still think it was a decent deal if you're the buyer of that. I like the Heinerle, generally speaking. It's not the best, given that the action shot isn't that great. Well, the action shot actually is pretty good, but most of these are like portraits, so they look a lot better. But I think the value per grade, like a Yashin and a Puskás and those guys would probably sell for like 300 to 400 in this grade. So I think getting a Pele for about that isn't bad. But of course, the photo does take away a little bit, so I get it. But all to say, I thought that was a good deal if you're the buyer. Congrats. We have a 2023 Finest Gold Cristiano Ronaldo PSA 10 for 444 as well. Between this Finest and the Cristiano Ronaldo 2018, I'd probably take the Prism, but I do think the Finest looks pretty good as well. This row's a difficult one as well if you wanted to pick your favorite. Kind of weird. It's just, some odds and ends. 2016 National Convention Hyperfoil. This Messi out of 49 PSA 10 goes for 450. I would imagine that might just be a relative deal, because like anything PSA 10 Messi, low numbered, especially early days, probably goes for a good number. Color Blast Erling Haaland PSA 9, and then we have an authentic altered Este Messi, which I looked at and I couldn't really tell what was altered about it. I would guess trimming, if because that just seems like the most common sort of alteration, but it doesn't look bad. I don't know. I believe that this is an authentic sticker. You do have to worry sometimes with this sort of printing pattern. This printing pattern only exists on the lighter version of this rookie. This says authentic altered. I don't know. Make of that what you will. Seems like 500 is a pretty good price on that, I would say. I did look up the upper deck pricing here as well on the Ronaldo that we saw earlier, and as you can see, it's been around 300 to 500, plus or minus some, all the way back into the 2022, 2023 days. So just looking there, but keeping it moving, Laser Messi from 2018. This goes for 492, so a little bit of a bump over the Ronaldo. Generally speaking, I see people all the time saying like Messi's so far beyond Ronaldo and he's clearly head and shoulders above. He's above him, but we just saw that Ronaldo, what was it? There it is. Nearly 400, 372, and then the Messi's 492. So, sure, it's a, 20-25% increase, but it's not head and shoulders beyond, I think a lot of the reason people are saying that, and the general impression is at the moment that the high-level collectors, the super, super high-end collectors, seem to almost all be in on Messi right now. And I think, if I had to guess, I think that's just because Messi's in America. I think the MLS nature of it all, having Messi in Miami, just sort of sparks a lot of American people to, hop in on that. I think eventually maybe they just do it in silence, because a lot of this is like private transactions that get reported. And if you have a bunch of people that own a bunch of Messis, they probably want those to be reported, right? If you have people that want to get in on Ronaldo, but they don't want to necessarily bump that up before they get in, they probably don't talk about it. So I'd be interested if Ronaldo follows suit in the high end. And, even if not, I think Ronaldo's going to have an imprint on, say, the Middle East, especially when it comes to pricing and collectors and all that stuff. So I still think they're relatively close. Of course, when we look at top-end rookie sales, they're not. But it just depends where you look. Different spots have different things going on. Generally, I still think they're comparable, certainly, as players. But nonetheless, we had like-minded, or I guess like card sales, so I just wanted to compare that because I thought it was interesting. Jude Bellingham orange here out of 50. PSA 9 goes for 400, 504. Oopsie. But doesn't seem like a crazy price. Granted, I guess it's PSA 9. It's also orange, so not everyone's cup of tea. 2021 pink PSA 10 Messi Mosaic. That actually seems like a fairly decent price, and I mean, if you assume that's raw, that's under $200 for an out of 25 Messi, which just generally speaking is not easy to do. I get it's mosaic, I get it's pink, it's probably not everyone's cup of tea, but that strikes me as a good deal. Above it, Erling Haaland sticker auto here, 2022 Select, goes for 564. We have a Messi image variation out of 10 from MLS Sapphire for 576, and a Ronaldo out of 199 PSA 10 from First Year Select. First Year Select to me has always been an interesting one. I've sort of seen more hype around it lately, or at least people talking it up because it's first year. Select's one of the instances where I think first year isn't even better than like second and third year. I really prefer 2016, 2017 to 2015. I understand that first year matters, but to me, I like the parallel structure and just the structure of the different levels in 2016, 2017 more than 2015 because it really doesn't have any. So, that's just my perspective on it. Also, 2015, like, absolutely filled with inserts and other cards, and so there's just a lot of stuff going on. But, of course, to each their own, but that seems like a decent sale there. I also thought the Messi image variation wasn't that expensive. Again, PSA 10, you assume it's raw, that's under $200 for an out of 10 Sapphire Black, which, again, color match, all that good stuff. I think that's a decent deal, too. In a world where Messi's running, there are some, seemingly, at least to me, good buys to be had. I actually feel like I have one later, and we'll talk about that as we go. Granted, it's not this modern shiny stuff, but I can still see a good buy in modern shiny if the numbers look right. I'm not totally blinded. Beyond that, Messi, well, we're going to talk about the Messi, we'll get there, but an R9 sticker auto, Lamine Yamal, Topps Carnival here out of 75, goes for 588. I thought this was a high sale. The Top Liga Mundi Chromo, this isn't even the foil, this is just the base, that goes for 600. I feel like that was a 200 to 250 card all day a year or two ago, and now it's 600, so that's a decent climb. I do think this card, especially foil, is underrated, which I think I've sold all of mine that I had. No, I have one more in my PC, but I sold the extras, so I'm not saying this is a pump. I've already dumped, so there's no more pumping and dumping from me. Not that I ever pump and dump. I just, for some reason, I just always feel a need to tell you guys what I own, even though at this point, if you watch them all, you probably know. You got my Instagram. You can see what I'm doing. Like, it's not, there's nothing egregious going on here. Nonetheless, Kylian Mbappe stained glass. I think this one's like more psychedelic looking than most of the stained glasses we got before. It's a little different, but nonetheless goes for 600. I think this Pedri's a really nice one. I like the Obsidian Floods. I did buy a Messi recently, so again, just being transparent as always. But I think that they're nice looking cards. They got the flood appeal. They got the full color, which people like, and they're rare too. And a rookie Pedri, if you're into him, if you like his cards, I think that's a fun card to buy. Not sure on the price. I don't think it seems crazy high, but it certainly isn't cheap, I guess. Instant Messi auto, 630. In this row, interesting one here, we're just going to kind of gloss by the Zanetti, is what it is. But we have an out of 99 white Prism Select 2017 Messi field level, and then a 2020 gold refractor PSA 9. Both mint 9s, and personally here, I take the Topps Chrome every single day of the week myself. A lot of people do like the field levels from 2016, 2017 especially. I like the field levels as well. I feel like the white parallel is a little overrated. Typically, it's very expensive compared to some of the lower number counterparts. So I take the gold chrome all day, 660 there. In terms of pricing, it is up a little bit. There was a PSA 10 that sold in January of this year for 900, so 600, nearly 700 on a PSA 9 is definitely up. One of the annoying things, though, with something like chrome, gold, and this is 2020, I can only imagine doing it now, but you go and look and you try to find chrome golds, and then you get Merlin, you get inserts, you get more inserts, some Merlin inserts, you get a Joga Bonito, you get, that's actually one that we're looking for, that raw was 229, so, but it's on ComC, so you'd assume it grades bad. You got Top Stadium Club, you got, some more inserts. It's just so hard to find what you actually want to find. There's more Stadium Club. There's a lot competing, so I do get that, and I think that's important to, note as well. While this is chrome gold, there's a lot of competition in the chrome gold space, while the Select sort of stands alone in 2017 at least. Above it, 2018 Century Materials Messi. This is, I think it's player worn. Granted, it's PSA 10, so, I'm sure it's not easy to grade given it's a thick card, but I would take both the white select and the gold over that, in my opinion. Love the Cyrillic text Neymar. I do think that this was the highest sale ever for this card at $720, but I don't think it's unwarranted necessarily. I think we saw a Heung-min Son recently go for like $2,000, and granted, he has a ton of collectors. I get it. The Asian people are crazy for him, and that's perfectly understandable. But Neymar for $720, I mean, my lord. I think that was a good buy. Whoever got that, congratulations to you. I don't own any of these parallels, but I like them a lot. 2023 Select Blue Lamine Yamal. I'm unsure what the print run is on that. I want to say it's lower than you would think because shout out to Soccer Cards HQ. I don't even know if that's right. I just, I see him talk about it, and I'm pretty sure I saw that Select Blues were fairly low number, but that could have been the field levels in particular, not the base, but, don't know. I try. Kaboom, David Beckham, PSA 10 for $810. You see here the atrocity that was committed in 2020, having a Topps Chrome / Steve Aoki Chrome set, which was just brutal. And the pricing follows, basically the same price on an out of 5 as we just saw for the out of 50 in the base. So there you go. I don't think we've ever seen that again. So, good decision making on their part. Immaculate Ronaldo here, PSA 10 for $840. It's about the price they're actually worth, but someone got a nice flip here. I looked it up because I was interested, and someone grabbed it on Card Hobby for $160. Granted, I'm sure there's some extra fees and yada yada, maybe a little under $200 in total. Turn around and flip it for $840, net $750 or something. Not bad at all. Good stuff there. Also a good card. I like the card. I think the Immaculate and NT bases are fun ones in my mind because they're just rare. There's not tons of parallels, and even the base cards aren't all that easy to get. And so I like them. They might not have the best look to them, but I actually think this year looks pretty good with that Juve kit and the way they do the colors in the background. So beyond that, another David Beckham here, 2023, selling for less than or more than 2021, which is kind of interesting. I do like the imagery a bit more. The Kaboom's a little lackluster in this year, despite having 2 Kabooms in the background. I think this looks a lot better, so I can sort of see that. Lamine Yamal sticker auto for $870, and a Victor Gyökeres green out of 5 going for $900 there. So that's a fun one. Obviously, color match. Big rookie. Although I guess he's a rookie, and I think he's like 27 or something. So, a little interesting, but nonetheless. On to page 1. We start with the Euroflash, Calcio Flash, Fabio Cannavaro, a, moderately scarce rookie for him, and that one's up a good bit. Did look this one up, and last sale was just a couple months ago for $720. Sale before that was 2 years ago for $492. So, yeah, that's up almost 100% in total, which is pretty interesting. We have the Topps Chrome PSG Kylian Mbappe Refractor Auto, all that good stuff. I do believe that this was the first release with Kylian Mbappe autos in it, and it was on card. And that's less than $1,000 for an out of 50. And it's a nice looking auto. Most of those look terrible. It seems like a good deal, maybe? Or at least it seems like a fun buy. I mean, just a warning for all the Lamine Yamal rookie sticker auto buyers out there. I mean, granted, this isn't rookie year Mbappe, but it's still the first auto release, and, that should hold some weight. Really doesn't seem to at the moment, but you would think it should. Sergio Ramos, PSA 9 for $960. In terms of recent sales, last sale was $690 and $780 before that, and then $1,000 before that. Most of the time, they would sometimes go higher, so it's getting back close to $1,000, which is about where they were in 2024, 2022, 2023, all that good stuff, so it seems to have come back up a little bit. Above it, we have a TT PSA 1010 auto, the beautiful game, out of 10, gold, all that good stuff. $990 on that one, which I didn't mean to click on, but I did. I said it was out of 10, I just assumed it was because it was gold, but it's actually out of 5, so even rarer than I had thought. Erling Haaland Refractor for $1,080, that's about where they've been. Sometimes they drift lower than $1,000. I think they might have come back up a little bit there. And a 2023 Chrome Red Kylian Mbappe out of 5 for a little over $1,000. This row, really fun row. I'd be interested what you guys would pick. I think the matchups, the more, I guess, reasonable matchup in terms of like midfielder, I feel is the Stevie G and the Pirlo. I just, in my mind, that makes a lot of sense. You got midfielder. The Iniesta, Robin's a little different. I don't really see those guys as necessarily the same type of player. granted, each player is going to have its differences in some regard. Now, the takeaway, or I guess the one downside here, is that for the Stevie G, England is unlicensed in this set. So you got like the flag there, and you don't have any logos on its kit. And so it's, I'd probably take the Iniesta Robin just because I feel like cumulatively you're getting better players, but I could totally be wrong, and I could totally understand people that would take the Pirlo Stevie G, even though he is unlicensed in that one. I think they were actually both reasonable buys at 1,100 for gold matchups. I don't hate that at all, personally, but of course, it's just my opinion. I don't hate this either. I mean, 2018 Vinny Jr., I'm not a modern guy, but, I got a soft spot for what I've been seeing lately. I just think about, like, raw, if you subtract the premium for the PSA 10, this is like a $400 card raw, maybe $400 to $500, and for an out of 25 black sort of color match, from a good set, in my opinion, for a good player, I like it. But obviously, Vinny has to compete with a lot of other people at Real Madrid for that spotlight, which I think just sort of hurts all of them in the hobby sphere. There are a decent amount of Real Madrid collectors, but I just don't know if there's enough people to be hyped about all of the guys, it's tricky when that sort of thing happens, but it is good for the team, obviously, so there's a give and a take there. Above it, we have a Wedges 2017 Black Friday Ronaldo PSA 10. Really cool photo. Generally speaking, I'm not the biggest fan of like Black Fridays and national conventions and all that type of stuff, but it does look good, so 1,300 there. Both of these doing real good. We'll talk about it. 2004 Messi, number 35 PSA 8 Campio. Let's make sure it's Campio. Just click on it there. Yeah, so it says Campio on the top left badge, which is what you're looking for. A little more rare. This was early grade, but I guess they got it re-slabbed because this is in the 20 million range. In terms of an 8, I mean, clearly got a little, I don't know if that print dot's normal. Probably not. A little bit of corner wear there. Some more corner and edge wear around the sides. You're probably not going to see a whole lot on the back just due to it being all white. Generally looks, like an 8, I guess. Definitely not a 9, but 1,400 there. In terms of pricing and where it's been, definitely up. As you can see here, I guess we can't see the full thing, so I'll zoom out just a smidge, but there you go. This one hopped up from 611 in May to 1,400, so pretty good. The 611 sale does seem pretty low, as it was lingering around 1,000 there during the early months this year, and it's gone up to 1,400, which honestly, going from mostly 1,000 up to 1,400, it is a boost, but it's not like a crazy boost. So maybe there's more run to be had there. Of course, pre-boom, it was $160, but I mean, January 2020, it was still doing a decent number for the time, I would say. Beyond that, El Mundo Deportivo PSA 7. These have been consistently like smack dab at 1,000. This one goes for 1,400, so a nice little bump there. Could be a better copy, but I'm not sure. It is a more recently graded copy, which is interesting at least. Above it, in this row, I did get a win. Beyond that, though, we have a Beam Team Messi, which the auto doesn't look great in my eyes, but from what I understand, Topps is saying that if you submit Topps Messi autographs to PSA and they don't authenticate the auto, they will replace your card. So maybe you can do that if you so please. Next to it, we have the Obsidian Lamine Yamal out of 40 for 1,400. And then, of course, the win of the night for me was a nearly $1,500 Lionel Messi rookie Este sticker, which I was pretty excited about. Given the run that the 71 Bis has been having, in my mind, the Este is the clear second fiddle to the Bis. I did do an iconic video on Pre-Modern, and people voted the Monday Chromo as the second most iconic, and I think that sort of makes sense from the perspective that American collectors love the Monday Chromo. There's probably more people that own the Monday Chromo. The stickers did have a little bit of a, sort of fog around them during their dark days, but I thought it was a really good deal for 1,400. It wasn't really something I necessarily was looking to get. It wasn't something I was hunting crazily going into the auction, but I thought it looked really good. I mean, for an 8, I know BGS stickers, yada yada, they got waves. This one doesn't look terribly wavy. I'm sure it's got a little something going on, but I'm okay with it. I also think it's pretty well centered. Typically, these are pretty OC, and this one looks decent. I thought the corners looked okay. I thought for an 8, it seemed like a decent buy for the price. Definitely a deal in my mind. I did have an Este in the PC before this. It was an SGC 7 that is real. I know how to... Generally, I know how to look for authentics. I wasn't quite sure on that CGC one earlier, but... So this is a technical upgrade. I thought for the price it was definitely worthwhile and decided to snag it. I just think the Estes are so low, man. Granted, you could have got a BGS 9.5 at times for around 2,000, but those are up to like 12 now. At least the last sale was. Those are anywhere from 8 to 12,000. So I think an 8 at a little under 1,500, certainly good. I clearly chose it over the 35 PSA 8, and I also chose it over this Monday Chromo PSA 8. This is up quite a bit as well. The Monday Chromo 8s were anywhere from, typically like 650 to 1,000, and this is sitting at 1,500 for an old cert. So pretty decent jump there. We got Estival. There you go. I learned how to pronounce it, and hopefully I don't forget. But very good price here, $1,560 for a rookie that's just sort of coming out of the scene. Watch some highlights. I have at least some ancillary awareness of him now, and I can say for certain that for certain, I don't know, but his cards seem pretty expensive. When you're paying $1,500 for a Chelsea player, of which they basically cycle through every other year, it's certainly a risk. But nonetheless, if you're the buyer of that card, hope you enjoy. This card and the Alessandro Del Piero Ruby from 98-99 Merlin. This is numbered out of 100. Doesn't really have that in the title, which is interesting. Now that I think about it, I should probably check if this has the numbering on the back. Okay, it does. So there have been, I don't know if they're backdoored copies or just copies that were inserted into packs wrongly, but there are copies out there that do not have the numbering on them. Which is worrisome, because not only are those copies out there and you might get confused, but people also might fake those numbers at some point in time. So you really want to look at these numbers, you want to learn what they're supposed to look like, and make sure you compare before you buy something. But in terms of price, I thought this was really strong. Clearly the Rubies are having their day right now for sure. People are very excited about them. We saw the Zidane go recently, and I think relatively that seems like a very strong price. A PSA 5 Del Piero, granted, cult figure, I get it, but $1,500 for a 5, super high. Granted, there's only 100 of these, and how many of them are going to get graded, and how many of them are even going to come to auction? Hard to know, but, I just wonder, like, if an 8 came to auction, would it really get the grading premium? Probably not. I think it's sort of a scenario where people are paying high prices to even get in the door on these, which, I can't blame them, really. Beyond that, in this row, just like an out of 299 sticker auto, PSA 9 for $1,600, man, save yourself $700 getting Mbappe on card, first auto. I don't know. It just seems crazy to me, but whatever. 2015 pink Cristiano Ronaldo PSA 10 for $1,600 as well. Granted, pink isn't everyone's favorite, but given it's a PSA 10, given it's first year select, given it's out of 20, it feels cheap in comparison. But again, I know pink isn't everyone's favorite, but neither's camo, and people pay up for camo, so, what are you going to do? Sesko here, rookie Sapphire, out of 5, color match, all that good stuff for $1,680. Above it, this Maradona PSA 4 goes for $1,700, which isn't a bad price, but this was brought up, I think, by Upper Deck. I can't remember the exact name, but like Upper Deck Soccer Cards on IG, gosh. I'm so bad with names. There's just so many names out there, but I generally got his name right. He pointed out that this is an awful looking 4. Clearly the centering's very off, but the corners, like, this corner's basically gone. This corner's basically gone. This corner's not great. This corner's okay. But, for a 4, it seems pretty overgraded to me. Now, maybe you could say the surface is absolutely perfect, and so it deserves it, and there's a case to be made, but it just looks bad in my mind. Still, $1,700 didn't seem terrible in comparison to past sales of different grades and all that good stuff. Renaissance Lamine Yamal. Here we have a PSA 10 for $1,800, along with this Messi World Cup for $1,860, BGS 9.5. They don't have the 9.5 in the card ladder database, so I just looked at 10s, and as you can see, clearly 10s have been going down, but then a little up. So they seemed to bottom last year at about $2,000, and now they're up to 31, and as you can see, this sort of indicates that they are up when a BGS 9.5 is selling what the 10s were selling for, because a BGS 9.5 is not worth what a 10 is in this modern day in the market. So speaking of the Devil 2017 Camo Select, I said that's sort of weird, but out of 20 PSA 10, so yeah, like in this scenario, I'd take the pink for sure over the camo personally, but maybe it's jersey number. That's the only real thing I could think of. Nope, 20 out of 20. I guess it's bookend, but are people really, paying up on a bookend? I don't think so. But that seems like a decent price in comparison. A blue Messi PSA 10 2018 Prism. I looked this up because I was interested. And, sorry, this is the Maradona. So, actually, did I close it? I must have closed it. Okay, I closed it. Anyways, these were mostly around $1,000 last year and the year before. Now they're $2,000. But I don't even think 2's crazy, and 1,000 certainly wasn't crazy in hindsight because, PSA 9 2014s go for $6,000, and granted that's first year Prism, I get it. But if you're a collector, if you're someone that likes putting together a run, like wouldn't you want the true blue from 2014, 2018, 2022? I feel like that'd be a cool run to have. And to be able to get a PSA 10 for a third of the price of a PSA 9 in 2014 doesn't seem bad to me. 2017 Select, well, I said Select, but that's Nobility Signatures Pele BGS 9 for $2,000. Honestly, I think that's a deal. On-card Pele from a set people like for $2,000 doesn't strike me as crazy. Now, granted, there are numbered versions of this that people like. There's orange, there's copper, there's gold, there's all that good stuff, but on-card Pele from a set people like for $2,000, I don't see that being an overpay. You could have the Lamine Yamal out of $299 Speckle PSA 9 sticker auto, or you could have a Pele Nobility on-card. Granted, you're going to have to pay $400 more, but, come on. Easy pick. Anyways, even above it, you got Messi or Ronaldo and Lamine Yamal sticker autos for the price of a Pele on-card. What kind of world are we living in, right? Green Red Fusion here, Erling Haaland out of 20 for $2,200, along with this Messi Topps Museum hat trick. Should I look at the patch? Should I even look at the patch to see if it's a game use patch? Let's find out. The relic or the signing is witnessed by a Topps representative. Is it? It looks like a good auto, but is it? I hope it is. Nonetheless, the relic contained this card's not from any specific game, event, or season. So I don't understand why it's called hat trick when it's just, some ball they muddied up from somewhere. But nonetheless, we'll keep it moving. 2,400, 2,500 on this Maradona PSA 4, which looked pretty good. It seemed a little too yellowy. Not that that's like a bad thing, but at least in my mind, whenever I zoomed in, his face seemed a little pungent. I don't with yellow. I don't know. But in terms of pricing, I think Card Ladder didn't have a PSA 4 to look at. Yeah, so we only have PSA 3 and then we have PSA 5, so it's just weird. PSA 3 is $1,200, PSA 5 is like $5,000. So, PSA 4 being somewhere in the middle probably makes sense. It's closer to the 3 than the 5, so maybe that's a relative deal. The colors are pretty good, though. I think it's, probably a bit light. Granted, this did have an eye appeal sticker on it, but these are pretty solid. These pretty solidly have been around $5,000, and in comparison, you might want the PSA 4 over that PSA 5 picture that was up there, but $2,500 doesn't seem crazy to me. Seems like a decent deal. Above it, take your pick of the sticker autos. 2023 Topps Museum Collection Frame Spectacle, Cristiano Ronaldo in a throwback Manchester United kit. I want to say he wasn't at Man U when this season came out, but I could be wrong on that. 2023 Lamine Yamal, BGS 9.5, and then 2015 Select Messi Red out of 15. Between all these, I'd probably take the Select Messi. It is first year Select, which I don't buy in too much, but if it's a narrative people like, I could see it working there. PSA 9, pop 1 of 1 none higher. I think the Messi is the deal out of the 3. Granted, it's the most expensive out of the 3, but they're all relatively similar, so, is what it is. But they are all sticker autos, and there's going to be lots more sticker autos from these guys, so always keep that in mind. But sets matter, and lineage matters, and all that good stuff. Some more sticker autos above it. Cristiano Ronaldo 2016, Donruss, The Beautiful Game, PSA 10 goes for $3,800. Seems strong, but clearly there's Ronaldo collectors out there willing to pay up for a PSA 10. We have a tie-dye Lionel Messi from 2015, PSA 10 for nearly $4K. Looked at comps on this, and last August you could have got this for $1,700, maybe $1,600, depending on which one you wanted. And nowadays we're looking at $3,960, which is an all-time high price there. So very interesting to see. Topps Merlin, not even Chrome, I don't think, just Topps Merlin out of 50 PSA 9 Lamine Yamal for $4K. It just blows my mind every single time, man. Every auction has 5 to 10 Lamine Yamal sticker autos that just go nuts. And, you know, maybe these are people that just haven't been around in soccer. They haven't seen the ebbs and flows of a prospect. But, I mean, is he never going to get injured in his career? Is that the idea? He's never going to get injured to the point where people start selling a little bit. He's just always going to be up and to the right, always going to be in demand. It's just, you know, there's cycles on this stuff. And, you know, we're not in a down cycle for Lamine Yamal right now, but you always could be. Granted, he could win the Ballon d'Or this year and the World Cup next year, and then he could be the talk of the town across the globe. So that's the pros and cons, I guess. Above it, a row of Messi and new Messi. So you have a choice here of a Kaboom, a Zebra Prism, or a Color Blast, Lamine Yamal. This is interesting. What would I want? Well, assuming I get these for free, right? Because, you know, 4 to 5K is kind of a lot, but I'll take the Zebra, which just hurt to say. Maybe I probably should just take the Kaboom. I'll take the Kaboom. It's World Cup winning year Kaboom. I'll take the Kaboom. All right, I'll take the most expensive one and claim myself to be a genius. But very interesting Zebra choice here. I know the animal prints are actually always pretty short print runs in like Prism World Cup sets, especially like in this. I'm pretty sure they're a low print run, but well, I guess okay. We got Pop here, 1 of 13, 4 higher. So there you go, which would indicate, I don't know, somewhere between like 20 and 40 probably, because I'm guessing most people are grading that. Color Blast Lamine Yamal goes for 4,900, and then we have a Kaboom Lionel Messi for 5K as well, which I did look up, and it's right here. So there you go. In terms of pricing, I would imagine this is going to be an all-time high as well, and it certainly is. Last highest sale was 2023, probably one of the first ones to come out. We had a bin in June for 4K, and yeah, lowest sale ever was close to 2,500 to 3K. So up about double from the all-time low there. Not too shabby at all. Still not in the top 3 for this week. We have a little bit more to go. Cristiano Ronaldo out of 10, red chrome auto from his years at Juventus 2018 there. PSA 9 goes for 5K. That is certainly high in comparison to what that has gone for before. I don't know if it was the same card necessarily, but these have definitely been in like the 2 to 3K range at times, and this one goes for 5. White Sparkle Lamine Yamal goes for 5,200. And then finally, of course, we have this 2014 Gold Sergio Ramos PSA 9 for 6K, which when you go look at his all-time high prices, that's the highest ever by a good margin. Next highest is the Flawless here. We have a patch, which is out of 15, and in a PSA 9 grade that went for 2,500 on a best offer. Other than that, Booming Days Monday Chromo PSA 9 for 2,400. That probably is one of the worst buys you could have ever made on Sergio Ramos, because now a Mega Cracks is like $900. Even the Mega Cracks never sold for more than 2K. So, well, 2,030, but you get the idea. Nonetheless, that absolutely dwarfs any other sale of Sergio Ramos, and I would assume rightfully so. That would also indicate to me he probably doesn't have a lot of one-of-ones, because I would think some one-of-ones would compete at least a little bit, but maybe not. And then, wow, I thought we were getting in the top 3. We still got more to go. We got a red Lamine Yamal, the man, PSA 10 for 6,900. I say I don't like the Color Blast generally, but I actually say I do like them sometimes. I would take the Color Blast. I just think it's at least a standout to me. Like White Sparkles, I know it's a parallel people like, but in comparison to all these, I think the Color Blast looks pretty good. Got a red The Man, though, PSA 5, Aquarella Pele, which actually was a really low price in comparison. Most of the time, or at least lately, I feel like I've seen these anywhere from like 8 to 12K maybe at times. And, there's always a little bit of randomness with the, edges here. But it doesn't seem like it's unworthy of a 5. The colors do seem a little offset, though. You got like this yellow peeking out over here, the blue on the bottom. So maybe that, puts some people off. Back doesn't seem noticeably bad, although I think that's just the slab down there on the bottom right. But nonetheless, it seems like a low price on that one. This Messi red Sapphire from 2019 went for about 9K, and that is the highest price ever for one of these by a good margin. Granted, it's a PSA 10, and all these other ones were ungraded, but I do think it's definitely up. I mean, you can see this one was 2,400, and this is the base, not the short print, and I also think the red works better on that design than it does with the yellow, so it seems like a good price there as well. And then finally, top 3, there you go. We have the Messi Red 2023 auto from Topps Chrome MLS for 11.4, which is one of the highest sales we've seen lately. We've seen a lot of low number autos and base of Messi's cards from this year go, and this, I think, tops all of them which clearly seems pretty decent. Granted, it's PSA 10 as well. It's on-card auto, all that good stuff. We have a PSA 7 71 bis for $15K, which I did look up. I guess I closed it, which I should probably just look it up. We'll do it. There we are. 71 bis PSA 7, and let's blow it up on the screen here. So there you go. There it is. Moving quite a bit. So last 2 years, the plus 250% basically. The low price in the last 2 years was about $3,700, $3,500 actually. And now you're looking at 15, which is not the highest price, but is the highest auction price we've seen. So these higher sales generally are best offers, and this one was. There was one at 16.25 earlier last week, which was a bin, and this one goes a little lower. But this is the highest auction ever, so despite, being as high as we are, they are still as high as they've ever been, which is just crazy. Now, obviously, if you go all time, there was a time where they were higher for that short stint in early 2021. But even then, there was only like 2 sales ever higher than this, and I don't even know if those were auctions. You would assume maybe 1 or 2 were, but this could be the highest auction ever, which is just crazy. I guess if we view all sales and then go by highest price, yeah, that's a fixed price. So there was 1 higher auction price ever in May of 2021. But other than that, this is the highest auction price ever for this card in this grade, which is just crazy. But at the same time, I kind of get it. There's tons of people that want this card. There's tons of people that are in soccer that were thinking to themselves, I'll get this card eventually. It'll be there. Because when the card was sitting there for $3 to $4 grand all the time, people think to themselves, well, I can just get it later. But then something like this happens, and you're like, can I? And to be fair, in 2026, we might see a bit of a run back. It just seems, you would think it's inevitable, but at the same time, it's just such a highly demanded card, and there's, PSA 7 granted, but there's 130 in PSA 7. That's not a ton. Yeah, in terms of total PSA grades, we're looking at less than 1,000. Now, granted, there's Beckett, there's others, and if you add it all together, there's probably 1,600, 1,700. 1,729 up here, but how many of those are regrades? How many of those are cracks and resubs? The true pop's probably closer, I would think, to 1,300, 1,400 maybe. And so if you're talking 1,300, 1,400 on the biggest soccer card ever, that's not a lot, man. That's not a lot at all. It's just not. And it's tricky, because I wish I could tell people, go out and sell them all now because you'll be able to buy them back cheaper, but or go out and buy them because they're just going to keep running. It's just so hard to know. And I'd love to hear what you guys think with the 71 bis, where you stand at the moment. Because when something runs like that, clearly the logical side of the brain says, well, sell it. But then, the heart has a little trouble with that and says, well, should I? Am I ever going to get it back? And you have the FOMO on both sides. You have the people buying out of FOMO, and then you have the people that aren't selling due to fear of missing out on peaks or fear of missing out on the card entirely forever. So, I don't know. Would love to hear your thoughts. And then finally, PSA 10 2002 Cristiano Ronaldo tops the block by a large margin, a $52,000 sale in a weekly auction. So people were definitely clued in on this, and that goes up quite a bit as well. This one up from the 18K sales that it had in 2023 and 2024, and this goes to 52. So clearly Ronaldo's moving a bit as well. If we look over the last couple years, you'll see up 200% nearly, which is just nutty. Just nutty, but personally, I think it's deserved. For me, and again, I released that pre-modern iconic stickers. I tried to make it based off, or pre-modern iconic cards. I tried to make it based off what I feel like people think rather than what I think. Because if you let me say what I think this is the second most iconic card in pre-modern / sticker, of course. But I think it's a 71 bis, and I think right under that is this sticker. And this sticker in a PSA 10 is basically the same pop as the Messi 71 bis. And Ronaldo has less rookies to look at, and the sticker is basically the same pop. And so for me, if Messi 71 bis is 800K, $1 million, what should this really be worth 50? I think 50's cheap. I really do. I think this should be worth hundreds of thousands, but I'm not the one spending this money and can make it worth that, But at least in my head, that's what I feel. And, I would think others, some probably feel the same, some probably feel differently. But man, it's just crazy. And soccer's just been hot. It's just been hot. I don't look at indexes on Card Ladder much because I think they can be a bit off. But clearly this sort of shows what we're all thinking. The last month, Messi's up 27%. Soccer's up 17%. I'm working on an index with Card Ladder to have what I feel are the most iconic soccer cards in an index together. That index is up 12%. I'll probably make a video talking about that and having some ideas that people can add in. I'll talk about it in the Vintage Discord as well. Link down below to that. It says Ronaldo's only up 2%. I really don't feel that. I also will say that I don't think these values have necessarily registered in some cases on the Card Ladder site, because if they had, we didn't even see a move, really. We didn't see a move at all in the last week in this index, and based off that PSA 10 sticker sale, I think there should be a decent move. As you can see on the bottom, too, there's not a big jump, so I don't know what's going on there. It feels like Ronaldo's up more than that, but ultimately, soccer's doing well. Last 6 months, clearly spearheaded by Messi, but 70% on Messi. The soccer 50 that I have here is up 50%. Soccer itself's up 33%. Ronaldo's up 20%. Pele and Maradona are down here, just drowning. But I would imagine they have their day sometime, but who knows. All to say, what a crazy week, man. Prices are crazy. Cards are selling like crazy. It's just nutty. And we'll take a look at next week, see what we got. I haven't even given it a peek yet. So what are we looking at? Okay. Maradona. There you go. Maradona and Pele. But Maradona Kaboom Golds. That's the place to be. Probably, it's got to be over 20K with the BP. Yeah, over 20K there. Select Messi Kaboom from 2017 at a 10. You got a Pele International Icons Flawless. Some more 71 bis. A Mega Cracks Ronaldo. A gold Eto'o. A gold RVP. A gold Pedri. Some Leaf 17 signatures on, I don't know. Di Maria Gold, which is a fun one. I guess I did throw this on the watch list just because I was interested. To see what that goes for. Bruno Fernandes, which I could pronounce differently if I wanted to. Lautaro Martinez. Some good stuff in between. Doesn't seem like as crazy of a week as last week, but certainly some fun to be had. And a lot of gold prisms if you're into that type of stuff. So, yeah, long one this week. Hopefully enjoyed as always. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Would love to hear your thoughts down below, because there's certainly a lot to talk about. And if you want some more videos like this, as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.